And welcome back to Kingsport 1851, Part 3. It's amazing that we've come this far. I am joined with new crew members and old crew members, and they're among my favorite crew members now. And they're all wonderful and great players, and you'll have a ton of fun. But we'll start with my partner in all this fun and games, Serafina.
Hello. I am Serafina, she, her. I'm playing Captain Charlotte Goodwin, also she, her. She is the captain and also the believer. And she has been here this entire time, getting more and more Ahabby with every moment. And so I am sure everything will go very smoothly for her and that nothing bad will happen to anyone she likes.
Well, there's an easy solution for that. You can just not like anybody. So are we at peak Ahab yet?
We're like an hour from peak Ahab.
Excellent. Excellent. So up next is Scott, who is playing James Fife, our first mate.
I'm Scott, he, him, playing James Fife, also he, him, hail originally from Scotland, although been working boats out of Kingsport for quite some time now. Somehow I've managed to survive this voyage thus far, and it'd be interesting to see where it leads us. I'm just glad that I wasn't on those other ships.
Yeah, bad things seem to happen to those other ships. Next up, I'm welcoming back a longtime friend of the Kingsports? I don't know. Leandro, who's playing Eva Morgan, our mercenary.
Hi, yeah. Name's Leandro. Use he, him pronouns. Glad to be back in Kingsport and in a Kingsport adventure with no damn Greenwoods in sight. I'm playing, as the aforementioned, Eva Morgan. She, her. She's the mercenary playbook, which is basically person who knows how to use a revolver and hurt people and kill people very well. She's been in the crew of the the Tethys this whole time. Just not been in focus. She's the bosun's mate. Basically, military matters involving the ship rested her because she's the best at it. She's kind of quiet, soft-spoken, but deliberate in her speech. And also, she's the outcast. That's the descriptor, which basically means she has a sin. Ooh, so she's hiding some deep, dark thing that she did in her past. She is basically she doesn't advertise that again. She keeps to herself. The only sign of her sin is a makeshift bead of rosary she keeps on her neck. And there might be some conflict there with actually there might will there be I don't know there's apparently captains worshiping things, and she didn't notice because she was busy doing her damn job. We'll see.
Well, I'm glad somebody's doing their damn job on this parky. And finally, returning to Kingsport, and someone I'm always super happy to have at my table is Jim, who's playing Enoch Eveson, our cook.
It's Everson.
Everson.
Okay. So I'm playing Enoch Everson, who I saw on the roster that the ship already had a cook. So I'm presuming that I kind of assist the current cook in their labors. I am the harpooner on that third boat because I am big and buff and awfully pretty and not very bright at all. I came aboard the ship because I was literally just on the beach drinking from a coconut on one of those South Sea islands, just wearing some pantaloons and no shirt, when you rowed ashore to get water or something like that. I mean, literally just almost like I had fallen from the sky, just sitting on the beach. But since then I have, I am, like I say, easy on the eyes, none too bright, reasonably eager to please, and completely like have no problem with any of the crazy stuff that that is going on. I think I'm probably relatively unfazed, and but like on the one hand unfazed, but on the other hand, all of the wonder and stuff that we encounter kind of seems to wash over me too. So we'll see what happens as we travel the seas here.
Cool. This is
And
awesome.
yeah, and so for folks at home, just to I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's a little bit of a spoiler in that I'm the cook, but my, what do you call it, sub playbook, what is my aspect? Is it an aspect? Is that what the thing is?
Descriptor, I believe, is the
Okay,
term.
my descriptor is the creature, which means there's something weird going on with me, and I think probably everybody on the ship has some sense that there's something weird going on with me, but probably whatever the nature of that is hasn't come to the forefront in whatever little bit of backstory got us up to this point where we're actually seeing what's going on.
Cool. I think I will probably ask you some questions about all that when we do bonds. But hey, first let's talk a little bit about safety. I always use the X card here. We're playing online, so you can say X card, you can make some sort of gesture like that, or type X, or just type something in the sidebar chat. I also encourage people to sidebar chat whenever they need to get my attention to maybe jump into a scene or whatever. Cool. We also have open door because this game is not more important than your safety and well-being, because I care. And finally, I like to do lines and veils. A line is things that we will not have in the game, and veils are things that we can have, but we will keep them off camera. And I should remember, because I forgot to say, when we use the X card, that just means that we're going to stop. We're going to go back to a point where whatever needs to get X carded is not present, and then we'll pick up from there. And that's all that needs to be said. Okay, so for lines, I've got a couple that are left over from last time, but I think they're not too bad. Sexual violence, romantic coercion, torture of animals, historically accurate racism, and then the last two, killing children and grandparents. Now, I'm not sure that grandparents is going to be a hard line anymore, so I'll leave that up to you guys. And my universal veil on sex, because we're on the internet. You can find it. So does anybody have anything they'd like to throw up on this? Okay, cool. Excellent. Okay, so folks have bonds, which you can see in your bond options, and you can choose one of those and then write it up in the lines above it, and then we can hide the bond options later. Oh, wow. Really? Hemsworth, Jim? Hemsworth?
So the fact that a whaling movie with Chris Hemsworth exists is why this character exists.
Totally fair. Totally fair. I have obscure reasons to be upset at that movie. Like, namely, they used the wrong kind of ship.
Well, I'm sure there's a host of reasons to be upset with that movie. The fact that it's got Thor throwing harpoons at whales and Spider-Man as a cabin boy is, that gets me on board. So
I forgot about Spider-Man. Oh dear. Oh dear. Anyway, I'm just checking to make sure nobody's playing the lover, so there's no secret bonds from your descriptor, right? Cool. So I invite people to create some bonds with each other, and we'll talk about them and ask some questions. And I have questions about this whole creature aspect, but we'll dive into that.
Are we wanting to do one for each other character?
I wouldn't say no to that. I'd like us to take at least two. I think maybe even three is probably pretty good, and just go from there. So if anyone wants to volunteer.
I think I'm gonna get rid of the first mate, like all the bonds that I had from before, really, because you're already first mate. I don't need to force that on you anymore. But I think James being the only one to have seen my private quarters, like I think we've built up like a strong relationship at this point, and so of the players, that makes sense to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, we can alter or even create our own bonds if you want. So that may be more. Maybe you want to like punch that up, like he's the only one in your confidence.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we could even use James's descriptor there. Then we could start you off with a secret from the captain, James. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I definitely want to hit early on in this game the what's the thing? What's it called?
The believer.
The my doubts thing, because I haven't hit that at all. Where it's a special bond, the only one I can tell about my doubts. So I might maybe pull you early in the game for that, James.
Okay.
That sounds excellent. All right, who's next?
So I'll go. I'm going to take that Eva is too impulsive. They are dangerous to have around. Is that okay with you, Leandro?
Yeah, sure. I did make her to be somewhat closed off and not doesn't tell people a lot of things, so she probably seems impulsive, and at least to James. I'm down for that.
Okay, great. That's the one of mine that fits the outcast the best. So
I think I'm going to take when my temper gets the best of me. I think James can always calm me down.
That tracks. James is very calm.
yeah.
I'm kind of torn between two. I was thinking for Enoch. It's either I think they're weak, so you bully them to get your way, or reminds you of your child. As I should have mentioned, Eva does have a ward, and back in Kingsport, actually.
I want to hear about this ward. Wait a minute. What?
Oh, okay. All right. So she definitely has a ward in Kingsport. Actually, I will pick that because her ward, Agnes, is someone she's taking care of for a while, but she doesn't see a lot because Eva travels a lot. She's gotten a bit more. Sorry, Jamie, want to say something?
Yeah, I think that, and there are absolutely significant ways in which Enoch is kind of a big, like, man boy. So, yeah.
I think I might go with the bully one then, if you're okay with that, because it seems like I don't want. The thing is, I don't want to take that because I don't want to make her completely unlikable. I don't want her to be bullying someone, so I think I will stick to child one. I do think you remind me a lot of my ward, Agnes, who's a bit flighty these days. Last time I got a missive from her saying she's getting really into religion. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That can go so many ways in Kingsport.
Oops.
Yeah, you gotta type them or paste values only. Cool. All right. Who's next?
Anybody interested in having, I don't know if necessarily a jail sentence needs to be the thing, but like some sort of nefarious past? Like I gave you a job even though I know your history.
You know what? It could be that, like, the fact that I got found alone on that island
Mm.
may mean everyone presumes that I got marooned there as punishment.
Oh yeah, people think maybe you're unlucky or that like, yeah. I think that's a great idea. And you're Enoch, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say Enoch owes me for giving them a job, even though people thought they were a Jonah. Yeah.
I'm so glad I have all of you saying Jonah now.
Important.
So I'm going to piggyback off of the fact that I remind Ava of her child. And I have one that is, no matter who is formally in charge, blank is the only one I really listen to, and I'm going to have that be Ava.
I'm down for that. Can I imagine Eva as a speak softly and carry a big stick sort of person?
All right, who's next? Who's next? Who's next?
And Enoch, well, Jim. I was thinking about Enoch's parents made you promise to keep them safe this journey.
No one, like, I don't think that's tough with the background that I came up with.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if that was very hidden or what. So.
Yeah, I don't think it, like I am, my parents are probably not going to enter into this in any real way. So,
all right, so
we should consider me an orphan.
Yeah, cool. Then you've taught Enoch everything they know about the sea. Does that work for you?
Hell yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Cool beans. Yeah.
So Ava, I think, how do you feel about being somebody that stood up to me and refused to obey a direct order?
I would be so down for that.
Great. Cool.
I always kind of think of Ava in the sense that so we can avoid the dynamic we always fall into whenever we're in Kingsport, which is you're the older woman teaching me how the world works.
Yeah. I think that's the moment that I made you the bosun's mate. I was like, okay, so you want to stand up to people?
Yeah.
So
I think I'll go to piggyback that. I'll go with the Charlotte has fought on my side before, and I kind of trust you implicitly.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very wise to trust me implicitly.
Implicitly, but in this journey beforehand. But now that we've reached, this is gonna be nice dealing with. Look, there's a reason I took a -1 at the beyond. There's got to be friction there.
Mm-hmm.
And Seraphina, I'm keeping the same bond with you, which is the I know that you hear the sounds of the sea at night as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I hear them. She's practically on a party line with them.
Yeah, really.
And my last one, and I really like this because I'm not even entirely sure what it means, and I'm looking forward to playing to find out what it means, which is When you scratch Charlotte's back, they always scratch back with interest.
Yeah, that sounds good. And it makes sense. We'll figure out what it looks like. But
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so I can, my last one then is the thing. Yeah, this makes sense. James is because he's the confidant. James is secretly paying you extra to do a few private jobs for them, and there must be some way I do those jobs that makes you think I'm too dangerous or impulsive. Is that okay, James? You're muted, Scott.
I think that works. I think I would be paying you to do jobs that keep you out of trouble, so that you have you're not kicked off the ship by the bosun once they realize how dangerous you can be.
Oh, Mr. Walker's so nice.
Do I have a reputation?
Well, it's just being, on the ship.
All right. So we're all bonded. And we've got an outcast and we've got a creature. And I have questions. So Eva, what did you do that was so wrong?
Oh, I abandoned my family to their doom and possible demise. This is probably gonna come up. I was gonna save this for later. Her entire backstory. I'll just tell it, sure, just so everyone's on the same page. She's basically she ran away from home for various reasons, mainly involving her family being incredibly religious and her lifestyle not vibing with them. So she ran off, kind of remade herself as a gun for hire, and years later, maybe even like a decade or and a half, her family managed to track her down. She got a missive saying, "Hey, we're destitute. Would you kindly can you come back to save us?" I think it's directly from her mother that she got a letter saying, "We're destitute and poor. Could you come save us?" And they even sent a rosary bead, that their family rosary bead, because again, they were hard living and so they only had one. But so they sent that rosary bead to Ava, and she was like, hell no. Burnt that letter, forgot about them, and and so she just kind of left them behind and just assumed they all died because she never found out what happened to them.
And where are you from originally? Was this Kingsport?
Oh, she lives in Kingsport, but she lives in She immigrated. She immigrated.
Oh, from where?
From the west of Ireland.
Of course. I was just gonna say.
If you know your history, you knew what was happening a couple of years ago in this time.
You abandon your family to the famine. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. You gotta tell us about your creatureness, Jim?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow that.
Yeah. Sorry. Feel like Hendrix following the Who at Monterey.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, different style. All right. So yeah, what do you want to know about Enoch Evison here?
Well, I think it's a little suspicious that you just were found on a South Sea island.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil my my creature thing, which is one of the things that you do when you are a creature is you describe your true form. I am a fallen angel. one of the lesser hosts cast out of paradise and condemned to earth because like a low ranking like foot soldier, you know, like no one would even know my name type of angel, like one of the, you know, kind of the unnamed host of heaven, but was part of that like gaggle of angels that when the great war came between Satan and God couldn't make up our minds. And so I was cast down to earth. And you know, I've probably been wandering around. Maybe I've lived on these islands since I can remember. My hunch is that probably I don't experience the passage of time in the same way that, you know, mortals do. So, have I been here a week, a millennia? It's hard to say, because I lose track if they're like, when there are mortals around to help me keep track, then I fall into the pattern of days and nights, and I can kind of, you know, learn to operate that way again. But before now, you know, maybe there was like some time where I was on an island and there were people and I was there with them or something like that, but it's all awfully hazy.
I have questions about how this cosmology is going to work in the Kingsport universe, but I'm okay with it.
Sure.
There's more things in heaven and earth and tentacle land and all your wow.
You know, and if so, it's also entirely possible. So that is my explanation for what I am, as I understand it, based on what I have learned from being around mortals. Right.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So absolutely, we're like I frame it that way, as like I don't remember what happened. I have some vague sense of things that happened to me long ago in my past. Like, you know, I know that there was some kind of a fall and all this kind of stuff and everything, but that, you know, when my true form is my skin glows with this kind of golden burning light, and like ragged, scarred wings of fire come out of my back.
Oh my god. I'm so happy. Yeah, I mean, while you've been away from Kingsport, we've had tons of stuff with the fairy queen and king. So
oh sure, yeah. All right.
So
okay.
There's room. I mean, who knows what's out there in whatever the realms of fairy are in Kingsport. I mean, you know, there's no there. We could have. I mean, I don't know. I have literally used Valentinian Gnosticism as a reference point in a Cthulhu game I ran.
Yeah, sure.
Because Valentinian Gnosticism is some weird ass shit.
And also, you know, this is what I came up with without having a lot of consultation with everybody. So if there's ways that we're going to tweak it that makes sense, to fit better in the game, happy to, you know, I'm open to.
Yeah, let's see how this flies, because this, I think Seraphina is extremely happy.
Cool.
Okay. Wow.
And what I said for my gender was he, him, as far as we know, because I present male, but you know.
Yeah, well, you know, Seraphim had no gender, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was.
I can't remember. Seraphim are kind of low in the hierarchy, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Second highest choir of angels. Thank you very much.
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
Perfect knowledge.
I forgot. I mean, I get all confused. There's thrones and powers, and
when you are named after them, you remember.
Maybe you were a cherubim. Don't they have like 15 wings or something?
I don't know. Just like rank and file. Like I was a private. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I think the thing with seraphim is that they like, and all angels, is that the jobs are interchangeable. So when you see the angel of, you know, whatever, it could have been a different guy yesterday. They just got handed that mantle for that day. So you just didn't have a job when you fell.
Sure. I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I was
random.
I got red shirted. Yeah.
Yeah, you got red shirted and kicked the fuck out.
So like I said, and that is my understanding from having interacted with mortals and heard their stories and stuff. Okay, so I've constructed that as in my head. I think that's how it went down.
Oh, this is lovely. Mama happy. Cool. Now I have to follow that, huh? Okay, wow, cool. So I'm thinking is maybe the South Sea Island is a good place to pick up. So there might have been some sort of time jump, huh? Like a couple weeks, long enough to put the Jezebel way behind you, and I think you were both glad to be rid of each other. And of course, the burning wreck of the Charity, which burned for days. Days. Cool. So, Captain, I have questions about Emily.
Oh boy. Sure.
I mean, so you've pretty much definitively answered what happened there.
Yes, I killed her.
Okay, so I have questions about how that went with the crew and what did you do?
I think I just dumped her off the boat and said that she went mad with grief.
Okay.
I crazy ex-girlfriended her. It's a shame.
Poor Emily. Emily's had such a hard time in my games.
You should never name characters you like Emily, because I will kill them.
I mean, you didn't kill Emily Dickinson.
I didn't kill Emily Dickinson. Daryl shut her down, though.
Yes, my life in gaming in 2 sentences.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think I killed her and then I like shoved her off the ship in the middle of the night and no one knew.
Yeah.
Is that our secret?
Oh, mine and yours. Oh, we lost Leandro.
Oh, we lost him completely.
He went yeah, he went off camera for a second, but maybe you just had to refresh.
He'll come back. It'll drop sometimes because he's kind of he's one of our international gamers. So
international gamer of mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I told you. Okay. I don't think that would be a thing that I would just say.
It could be just unsaid that, James knows because he must, but he hasn't said anything because
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Does that work for you? Does that work for you, James?
That works.
Great.
Cool.
My secrets give me a currency in the game. That's why I just want to make sure that we have it marked down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. You know what, Captain? I think this is a good place to adapt one of your moves.
Cool.
I think you should. We're just going to cover the cover-up as spiritual fire. Does that sound okay to you?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
and hey.
In what way?
So I'm seeing that the way the options on that kind of work pretty well for if the crew had any suspicions.
Yeah. Can you share Dooley Wise Kitten?
I forgot to do that. I am just pulling it up now.
Your roll.
Find it. There it is. Stupid new Google icon. Here we go.
Awesome. Great.
Also, you needed to fail a move, he said, so I'm going to let you roll beauty.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. Do I have a -1 to beauty or beauty's just a 0?
You have a -1.
-1 to beauty. Great. I'm real into it. It's going to go well.
I think you're attractive. You're just creepy.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I'm just terrifying is what I am. So what's the rule for the thing? Where can't I find things? Great. Cool. No stakes here. It's going to go fine.
Everything's good.
Everything's great. I rolled an 8. -1 is a 7. Oh, thank Christ.
Cool. So you get to choose 2 of those.
I think they act immediately that they keep following my orders. And they don't like misinterpret. Well, I mean, they don't interpret me correctly as a murderous Ahabian nightmare. Yeah.
That's cool. I noticed that leaves they don't use violence and they don't demand boons or miracles from you later as things. So I'm
You can
just
totally do those things.
yeah, I'm just gonna stick that into my quiver.
I like that. Good.
Cool. So, Enoch, why don't you tell me a little bit about the island?
Oh, the island is lovely. It's a volcanic atoll. I think it's kind of one of those things where like it's got a it's like a circular island that used to be a caldera that kind of fell in, and so there's this kind of wonderful weird circular island. That's kind of like a ring of vegetation and stuff like that around a kind of beautiful, sunny, sandy central lagoon kind of on the inside. And there's all kinds of fish and birds and coconut trees and stuff like that. And, if you didn't have to worry about getting sick, you could live there a long, long time, just kind of living off of the land.
Well, you could, except the crew has been stripping it methodically of its supplies because everybody's going out and hunting as if they've been caught up in some spirit of violence and bloodshed.
Well, if you were one person, you could live there comfortably.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably some reasonably treacherous reefs around it. So it's not necessarily like you can't just sail right into it. You gotta lay anchor and bring the boats in and watch where the waves are coming over and find the gaps and stuff like that. So it's not, you can't just cruise in. Somebody had to do a little bit of work to drop me off here. So
yeah, if it's a volcanic island, it probably slopes away pretty steeply. So there's not great anchorages around it either. Cool. Yeah. So and you're alone on this island?
I am alone on this island, yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. Yeah. I want to hear from Eva. Have you been participating in the hunting?
Can you say that again? My internet is
I'm
freaking
sorry.
out.
Have you been participating in the excessive hunting that the crew is doing on board on the island?
Kind of. I'm watching the crew more than hunting. And I think I get the feeling that Eva is kind of like that whole monitor. It's like, yeah, you better be disciplined. And she's just kind of like stalking around the edges of the crew working. Partially to get as much shade as she can because she's from Ireland. This sunny climate it's not good. It feels weird. She's pale as milk.
I feel you on that, Eva. I feel you on that. Cool. I think this is a good place for us to pull Mr. Walker on screen. So Bill Walker, he started out as the bosun's mate. He is now the bosun. He is an African-American man in his 30s, native Kingsporter. His family have always been sailors and always been whalers, at least as long back as the Yankee whaling fishery has been around. And he comes and finds you under a tree and just without preamble says, "There's something slack in the discipline here. It's like a pin going on a shroud. You can just feel the tension. You can just feel that it's not going to hold."
What do you want me to do about it, bosun? Do you want me to unleash tension?
I've never wanted to have that kind of a ship.
Well, I'll ask again. What do you want me to do about it?
Normally, I would bring this sort of thing to the captain, but that seems perhaps I'm not sure that would be the best of ideas right now.
I think Eva kind of like. Well, I think Eva's leaning against a tree. She kind of just stands up properly. She's also wearing a black coat in the islands. She was not made to go in the sunny weather. And she kind of just raises an eyebrow, says, "What makes you say that? Is I would thought crew discipline would be something to bring to the captain's attention."
Ever since we left the charity, after what happened to it, the captain is wild and fey.
Well, that's an affliction the two of us can hardly start to cure.
And yet, we must have order on the ship or we all shall perish.
I say, we'll let the crew blow off some steam, getting them out of the ship. Out here, we'll do them some good. I'll let them forget about our travails, our captain's wiles. We stay here long enough, they'll let that tension bleed out.
All right, he just sort of nods, kind of absentmindedly, says, "Blood's gonna come of it eventually," and kind of stalks off.
Yay!
So I feel like we should have Enoch meeting with either Mr. Fife or the captain. I'm not sure which one though.
So is this like meet cute the first time we meet, or is this like I've shown them around the island and pointed out to where like the best fruit trees are and done my little trick where if you have your hands in the water you can actually like there are so many fish in that lagoon on the inside that if you just kind of stand in one spot with your hands in the water, you can, and you're quick, you can actually grab one and just fish with your hands. Like after all of that, is that or
Yeah, I think that's after that. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
so it's possible that you'd be meeting the captain for the first time.
Yeah, okay. So would that mean they're bringing me to the boat, Captain, or do you come ashore?
I think she doesn't leave the boat much anymore. Like, I think when we come into port, she stays on the ship. So yeah, if James wants to bring you to me, that seems like a good plan.
All right, let's do that.
And is it you're bringing him to me because we're thinking about like hiring him on, basically?
Yeah, I think we need a new cook.
Yeah.
Cook one the men are just unhappy with. The men and women are just too unhappy with. And I think that Captain, I think I've found the answer to our problems in terms of a cook. Found this
when
over here, Enoch, here.
Yes, James.
Yes.
When Enoch meets her, she is.
This is your master. My master now.
Yes. We shall go with that.
Yeah, she walks down off of the quarterdeck and extends a hand, and you can see like she's got like her sleeves rolled up. She's got a huge burn scar all along her left arm and a big scar coming down across her throat. She's a rough looking lady. And she just extends her right hand to shake yours.
Yeah, and I think I'm like, like I'm wearing basically like some muslin pants. That's basically it. Barefoot, they might even be like rolled up to my knees, something like that. Barefoot, bare chested, bronze tan, all that kind of stuff. Like bleached out blonde hair and everything.
Nice.
And you hold out the hand, and I kind of look at James. And I hold my hand out,
And I think I have to reach up slightly and take yours.
Yes.
And then, like, lower it and shake it.
Yes.
So you are interested in a position as our cook?
I would like to see the world.
Well, I can show you parts of it.
And that is how, well, if I'm to see it, that's how I have to start, yes?
A boat is a good way to start.
Yes. I learned many things about different ways to prepare all of the foodstuffs on that island.
You'll find our food is a little more sparse. On a boat, we can't preserve anything and we can't grow anything. So we have what we have. We stop in port when we need to stop in port. We catch fish occasionally.
Yes, fish. I know how to cook fish.
Excellent, good. Well, we can certainly show you parts of the world, the parts we're going to. If you want to sign on.
This is the part where you say yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
I may have missed everything you said.
Oh, I hadn't said anything yet. You're right.
Scott, did you say this first, or?
You're breaking up on my side.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay.
Oh, you're better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have just been a little internet hiccup.
Oh, you're better. You're way better now. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, probably just a little internet tweak.
Yeah, all James had said was, "This is where you say yes."
Yeah. And I grin and say yes.
And she, like, this might be the first time that James has seen her, like, genuinely smile since everything that went down on the last ship. She, like, brightens up and she says, "Well, let me show you where your quarters are."
And I nod and fall and step behind you.
Yeah. So I guide you underneath the ship, and, you know, we have the sort of great cabin, and everything is sort of partitioned off so that people have their own sleeping space.
And it's so obviously the first time I've ever literally even seen a boat like this. I'm just doing that, like, rubbernecking, like touching things and stuff like that. And yeah.
And she says, "You will, of course, have full run of the ship. The only places where you're not permitted are without permission are other people's bunks and the quarterdeck, which is mine."
What is the quarterdeck?
So when we were up above that area at the back of the boat that's raised, that's captains go there, unless I invite you.
Yes, I can. I understand.
The kitchen is over here. This is where I'll keep all the supplies. The men get and women get a daily supply of grog that they can use to their.
Captain.
Yes, James.
Enoch, do you know what people's bunks means as well? That is where others would sleep. Their quarter, their rooms.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to clear up the terminology that we use here on the ship versus what you used on the island. I apologize for interrupting, Captain.
It's all right. We don't want misunderstandings. Yeah, there's lists of supplies if you want to bring on things before we set sail. You have a day or so to do that, and I will leave you to familiarize yourself. And she nods to you and James, and then walks back to the deck.
So I want to know, how is it that we discover Enoch's talent to be a harpooner?
Enoch, if not, I can think of something.
Well, I think that, I mean, if nothing else, when we are, like, you know, I go back to the island and I am helping the crew, like, you know, haul stuff down and things like that and everything, you know, and, you know, boat comes back in and I am just like taking coconuts and just like hucking them up onto the deck and stuff like this. Like I maybe at first don't understand the protocol of, we put it in a net, we haul it up, stuff like that. I assume we're just going to be hoisting it up there. And so it's pretty clear that I am quite strong and can throw pretty accurately, just from that, and the other crewmen are seeing me just lugging around stuff, hoisting things and throwing them on my back and stuff that it would take, a couple of guys to, or just one or two of the biggest people to do. So
Sure.
I think just kind of, just general feats of strength and stuff. Yeah.
I'll bring over one of the lances. And see that tree over there, Enoch? Can you hit that tree with this? Throw it with the point facing the opposite way.
Ah, yes. And I, take it, toss it in the air, do that thing where I toss it in the air and then whoomp, catch it, and just zing. And if you want me to make a roll for that, see how well I do, I can. But I've got +2 brawn.
Yeah, nah, I think you do it.
So it's opening, that like.
Enoch, as well as Cook, I think we have another job for you on ship.
I fear the tree still lives.
That's okay. We were just testing the tree.
Ah.
Oh. And the winter nights are just going to fly by on board this ship. Cool. Yeah, okay. So what do we want to do next? Eva, you have anything on your mind?
I think just probably meeting Enoch, just to be like, all right, we got a new third harpooner. I think she does this for every new crewmate. Well, not every new crewmate, but this one is a bit suspect.
I think everybody's turn to meet Enoch. Everybody wants to meet Enoch, and that sounds perfectly fine to me. So where does this happen? On board the ship or on shore?
I think this is probably on board the ship.
Okay.
I think probably maybe Enoch settling in with that wherever the cook is usually is, and Eva just marches in. Probably a bit pink around the cheeks. Damn sunshine. What's Enoch doing when Eva marches in?
Almost certainly, we have this opportunity for fresh fruit, so I assume we're just gonna eat the fuck out of it. So whatever the cook has said, here, chop the tops off of these pineapples. I'm wonk, 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 just kind of very, very methodical assembly line, like tireless, but also not complaining, almost robotic work that I'm just doing as I'm with this kind of, relatively serene blank expression on my face as I do it.
You're the new cook, right?
Yes. Hello. No, I am not a cook. I am the mate to the cook. I am under the cook, but I am the cook has made it abundantly clear to me that I am not the cook.
Well, I'm glad to know you know what your position is. I think she kind of strides over and stands kind of in front of you. I'm just okay. Yeah, no, I think she says, "My name's Eva Morgan. The discipline in the ship begins and ends with me. I'm just here to make sure you know that. Your name?"
I'm Enoch. Enoch Evison.
Where are you from, Enoch Evison?
And I point out in the direction of the island.
You could try to be a bit more specific than that, Enoch. Are you saying that island?
That island is the only home I remember.
Huh. Regular. I'm about to make a Robinson Crusoe reference, but I just realized I don't know if that book's already out. I see Kat's there. Oh, yeah, there we go. Kat's nodding. Of course you know. It's like, yeah. You're a regular Robinson Crusoe, then, are you?
I am Enoch Evison.
Of course. So what you're telling me is you're someone who's just lived in this island for as far as you know, and yet you seem to have a perfect grasp of the English language and more than fine motor skills to cook and apparently harpoon.
Yes. James showed me how to use a harpoon earlier today.
Of course he would.
Oh, sorry. I would call him Mr. Fife, right? Would we call him Mr. Fife on the ship? Yes. Mr. Fife showed me how to use a harpoon earlier today.
Oh, of course he would. You know, what's your purpose for being on this ship?
To see the world.
Why exactly do you want to see the world?
Because it is... all I know is that island, and there is more to see.
Well, as far as reasons go, I can't argue with that. I think I'm kind of like trying to suss you out, and
Yeah, sure.
not a move, but like I'm just like.
Oh, okay. Well, because you can read another's
Oh
thoughts.
yeah,
so
yeah. I should reread.
if you want to, I mean, there is a move for that.
Yeah.
So
I should do that. I mean, I know he's probably telling the truth, but sure, why not give? Let's roll and see what happens. Oh wow, my internet is terrible. These dice are just spinning. Oh dear. Oh, that's a 4.
4 total.
Yeah. Big old 4.
And you're trying to read Enoch's thoughts?
Yeah. How does that work out?
Yeah, that seems appropriate. Well, everything is fine. You stare at Enoch for a while, then you remember that you're supposed to help the cook and help Enoch with the cook. So you're chopping up vegetables, and then later in the evening, you make sure that everybody has enough food, and you go around patting everybody on the back. And it's not until you get into your hammock that night that you're like, wait a second.
Wow.
You were actually nice to people.
Oh, god damn it. Well, so much for my carefully cultivated air of mystery and intimidation.
Actually, goddamn it is precisely wrong in this case.
Can I pick up after that?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So I think that as the evening winds down, Ava finds herself, standing on the deck as she is wont to do, and hears the captain's voice from behind her and feels a glass pressed into her hand as the captain says, "Well, you were certainly chipper this evening."
I think this is when I kind of like. This is when I wake up, kind of. I guess I hear the captain's velvety voice staring out into the void, and just brings like, "Oh, is that what I've been doing?" Chipper.
You turn and look at her. She's got a bottle of whiskey and another glass in her hand and says, smiling, talking warmly to the crew members, giving cow eyes to our newest assistant cook. It was adorable.
Adorable. Big swig of the whiskey. Well, that. Was that assistant cook of ours, and the new one, and you can kind of see like her face is like rearranging herself to like be sour already, even looking at you, just like, well, I'll be happy to disappoint the rest of the crew once I go back to my old ways.
She like leans against the side of the ship and tips back a little more whiskey and says, "Well, who knows? Maybe Enoch will bring out the kinder, gentler side of Ava Morgan."
Well, if he was able to do that, then he'll be a true miracle worker.
He's an interesting fellow.
He is terribly suspicious.
On this ship? I guess kindness and gentleness would be suspect on a ship like this one.
Kindness, gentleness. His story is, well, frankly, his story is a bit ludicrous. And yes, I say ludicrous knowing what ship I'm on.
Ava, are you suggesting that a person who travels the high seas might not be being completely forthcoming about their backstory? Surely you jest.
Well, Captain, since it's my job to look out at the crew, it's my job to know people's backstories.
She puts a little more whiskey in your glass and says, "I am making fun of you, friend."
She looks confused at the whiskey and says, "Well, you probably should have done that a few hours ago when I was more receptive to that." Drinks another.
I will keep that in mind. Continue being suspicious. She says, "Continue being suspicious."
And what of yourself, Captain? What will you continue doing?
And then her face like darkens and she looks towards the quarterdeck and she says, after like a long pause, "I will continue drowning my sorrows." And walks off to the quarterdeck by herself.
I was about to. Okay, no, I think I'll let her go. Just drink her whiskey and stare into the void again. Wondering, what the hell did I do? What niceness? I'll find out later. Ugh.
Oh, that wasn't creepy at all. Ooh. Well, that seems like a good time to take our break. So we come back at 5 to the hour, and we'll pick up from there and figure out where the ship is going to sail course to. All right. Okay, Captain. It seems to me you have a small problem.
What?
Oh, hello. I guess you heard the cat noises, huh?
It's a shadow. Oh, shadow. Love you, you're perfect. Your face. I want to put his whole head in my mouth. Fine.
He's twisted in my head.
Right.
Shadow, you monster.
That happened to me too. So
That is a face of tolerance. I will tolerate this.
He's brand new for being that tolerant.
Yeah. Oh, he loves me, man. He climbs all over me whenever I sit down on the couch. It's like, okay, buddy, dude. I tell people it's like living in a 90s comedy around here. All I'm doing is going around going, dude.
So what's the captain's problem? I don't think she has any problems. I think she's doing great.
You don't know where to go.
That's valid. Yes, I should probably ask.
You're
her to go.
supposed to go somewhere. That's what they told you back in Kingsport.
Yeah, you want me to roll some dice? Let's roll some dice and figure out where to go.
Yeah, I mean, they said it would be revealed.
He said it would be revealed, which means I probably have to like sense what's beyond.
Yeah, how's that? How you doing that? What's that look like?
So I think she, it's like our first night at sea when she has that conversation with Ava. And she goes up to the quarterdeck with her bottle of whiskey. And oh, this is dark. This is fucked up. Okay. So she has she took all of Emily's jewelry before she threw her overboard. So now alongside of her otherworldly looking moon necklace, she has a tiny silver cross, and she has her Emily's wedding ring on that chain as well. So she goes up onto the deck, and she onto the quarterdeck by herself late at night, under whatever set the moon is at now. And she gets some of her own blood, not from her palm because she's not an idiot. And takes the necklace with the ring and everything off and like holds it out over the edge of the thing and says prayers in her tongue to whoever's listening and asks to be shown the way. But she rolls a 4.
It always seems to happen when you roll for beyond.
Not good at looking in the beyond. It's not her thing, but she wants it, so it's fine.
It's not your thing. Ah, boy. Oh, by the way, is that not the first roll that you failed?
That's not the first roll I failed. I failed other rolls in the last game, but it's the first roll I failed in this.
This same, yeah, because you've got that thing to do with James, right?
Oh yeah, I do have that thing to do with James, so I can do that after.
Yeah, let me think what we can throw at you. I should really start making a list of bad things that can happen when Seraphina inevitably screws up. Okay. So remember how I told you that ever since you saw the note back off Cape Horn, you've always kind of felt it near the ship?
Yeah.
You slowly have that feeling fade.
Oh no. Okay. That's not great. So she puts as that, like, does it just fade really quickly as I'm standing there?
Yeah, I think so. Almost as if something suddenly turned in tail and started to swim away.
Can I figure out what direction it's swimming in? Or is it just that it left me?
It's swimming in the opposite direction the ship is moving.
Is that I have to turn the ship, or is that it's abandoning me?
You're the religious one.
I mean, I refuse to believe that after all I've done, I can be abandoned.
You can believe that.
Yeah. I think that she honestly is like overwhelmed with the feeling of it leaving. And so like in the film version of this, what you see is the camera like pulls slowly away from her up against the railing. And she like drops the glass in her hand and falls to her knees and like is like shaking and holding onto the rail.
Does this sound like the moment when James finds you and you have that conversation?
It's not a bad idea.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Captain, thought I heard you.
And she's got like her arm is all bloody, and she's like hyperventilating and sitting on the ground.
Let me clean that up for you.
Her eyes are all sort of glassy, and she's like looking at nothing and doesn't really register you for a little while. And then when she finally does, it's like you've basically cleaned her whole arm, and she puts her hand on top of your hand. And I think normally she doesn't like touch you. And she like grips your hand up against her arm and looks you in the face and says, James, do you ever get the feeling that we're damned?
I do. I do this. I've sensed my end coming for several years. I had a feeling before this voyage set out that something would happen.
I feel like all the surety that I had before this moment has abandoned me. Like the gods aren't listening anymore. And it's my fault somehow.
Were that they were worthy of you, they would be listening.
Isn't it our job to be worthy of them?
Is it? Are they for us or are we for them?
And like her eyes kind of come into focus, and it's like she's actually finally like really looking at you. And she says, all my life, what I've wanted is to be worthy of the attention of divinity. Do you think that it's the other way around?
I think it is. I think reverse that. They need to prove to you their worth.
I think at that moment she like crumbles, and like it looks like something has cracked open, and she just like grabs hold of you like a child and sobs.
It's okay, Captain. Let's go to your quarters.
Yeah. And you put her to bed.
Okie dokie. Well, this is good. This is good. Everything is going to work out fine.
I think the next morning, it's the first time she seemed like herself in weeks. She's like cheerful and doing things and stuff. And that's going to go super well, and it's not going to backfire at all. And it's going to be fine.
Not in the slightest, because the next morning you guys sight a pot of whales. So, Captain, do you take a boat?
I don't think she does. I think she's going to let her new harpooner have a shot with the others and stay shipward.
Fantastic. So why don't we put Enoch on James's boat then? And I don't know what Eva would do. She would probably be one of the boat watchers, whose job was to keep the ship, on course while everybody was off. But if Eva wants to jump on board and go hunt whales, I'm all for it.
No, I think she'll. Sorry, I'm still here. My internet's just being weird. No, I think she'll do her job. Keep watch over the boat. Someone has to.
Okay, That won't go weird at all. All right,
God,
excellent,
no.
excellent. All right, so it's a merry chase and a fast one, but you're able to rely on your sails for a while. Finally, you have to switch to oars. Enoch, do you know how to row oars?
You know what? I suspect that like that's something I can pick up by watching.
Okay.
It's not that tough. I mean that like I'm probably awkward at it at first, but as soon as they kind of show me, no, twist your wrist so that you feather it back over the, over the water, then pull. Like I said, like in terms of things that I can do that is like a robotic repetition of activity that I don't need to think about, rowing a boat, I got that down.
I'm just saying, this ship has known people who could not learn how to row.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. No, this is the kind of stuff I'm good at. Like, they're probably never going to actually teach me to read, but because I want to be super clear about the fact that I have no idea how to read. But like rowing a boat, chopping chopping turnips, like that I can do that till the cows come home.
Okay, that's fantastic. Cool. So I think when you are set to throw the harpoon, you're going to need to act with force.
Yeah, let me do that. So I have got a +2 to my brawn here. So let's see what can go wrong.
Many things.
It's true. I got 7 + 2 gets me to 9. The first mate's right there next to me. He could help out. Maybe give me some advice.
I think I'm going to help.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You roll the number of bonds you have with someone.
Seven.
Cool. That's a +1, so that gets you clean to 10, Jim.
Awesome.
Cool. So you get to choose 3, I believe.
I take definite hold of it or the situation.
Literally.
Yep. And I inflict terrible harm.
Okay. You get a third one, I think. Yeah.
I do get to choose 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also choose suffer a little harm.
Wise plan.
Yeah.
All right. You make the pitch earlier than everybody wanted you to do, but you've got such a good arm, it just sails straight across the water, latches in. The whale tires way quicker than you were expecting, James. So quickly, in fact, that you start moving up the boat with your lance. Enoch, I think you need to roll your balance here because you're definitely acting under pressure because you've never done this dance before.
It's true. All right. I think balance for me is just a flat roll. So
Yes,
let's see what we got. Flat white. Oh, and there's my 6.
Fantastic. All right, so you stand up and rock the boat immediately.
Yeah.
And fall right over the side. So, James, what are you going to do? Are you going to come up to lance the whale, or are you going to rescue your crewman, or you just assume that Enoch knows how to swim? He knows so many things,
Could he have helped me to keep me from falling out of the boat? Since I hit a 6.
That is true. He could do that.
Yeah, let's do a. I'm going to.
Because if he misses, then we'll go into the drink together, which I think that's way more fun.
I'm going to lose. I'm going to drop the lance, reach for you right as you're about to slip over the edge. Balance, so +2.
That's plus bonds, actually. If you're just helping, you're trying to get him to avoid the 7. Avoid the 6.
One away. So yeah, just to help. So that's a success. He gets a +1.
All right, so you get to a 7, huh?
Falter, buckle, or break.
Yeah, falter, buckle, or break. Cool. You start dodging around, but you're rocking the boat, and also have you ever used a tiller before?
Who, me?
Yeah.
What's a tiller?
So okay, cool. Um,
I
James,
just learned how to row this morning.
I know. James, you're gonna need to act under pressure to get this to get the pitch off.
I got a 7.
7. Cool. Um, okay. So you're making the pitch and you're doing good execution, but you kind of were expecting that, Enoch would do things like not steer the boat under the tail of a thrashing whale. So just take a harm.
Right. Enoch, not that close.
And I just like I'm standing there, and what do? I say to him.
Keep some distance, not too close.
So
When it's more tired,
all right,
get closer.
um,
You'll know it'll look weak.
and I just kind of nod
fish,
like I
yeah.
understand what he's saying.
When the fish, when you catch them, they start slowing down.
And I will. I guess I'm gonna grab the tiller. Is that what I'm supposed to do here? Like I kind of reach for it and put my hands on it, and then kind of look to you. And if you like nod, then I'll hang on to it. And then kind of like I'll look to the other 2 boats, and then I'm gonna take my cues from them about where I'm supposed to be.
The other 2 ships are also quite successful. Elizabeth has her usual awkward pitching motion that sails over the water with great elan, and Hezekiah is just brutally efficient like he always is. So you guys tow back the whales, but meanwhile on the ship we have Eva and the captain, and young Neb is kind of standing at the base of the quarterdeck, staring up at you two.
Sorry, my internet freaked out there. What did you just say?
So, young Neb, who is the cabin boy and the only survivor of the good ship Era, which was lost with all hands off of the coast of Patagonia.
For no particular reason.
No reason. Had nothing to do with anything. Just everything is fine. He's a African American child originally from New Orleans, and is sort of creepy and spiritual. So he's just sort of staring up at you guys.
I had been watching what was going on with the whale and then glance away and see him just standing there and say, "Don't you have work to do?"
Well, Captain, there's work and there's work. And I've done my work in your cabin, but there's other workings that I could be working on.
Why don't you do that?
Begging your pardon, Captain, but I would appreciate having your ear for a moment.
And I look at him for a second and then I nod him onto the quarterdeck.
All right, so he kind of cautiously steps up there and he casts a nervous glance at Eva.
Well,
Captain, you do know that you took on a Loa, right?
pardon me?
Or at least one watched by him. These things confusing them that are beyond are always unusual.
You mean Enoch?
Well, I'm not sure, but the signs are strange and complicated, Captain. And I know that you you lost your connection with the Baron the other night, so I
And she like stands up a little taller and says, "What do you know about that?"
wasn't spying, ma'am. Can't help what I see and hear in other ways.
Interesting. So if you're seeing and hearing anything else of interest, I'd like to know about it.
He sort of visibly gulps. Captain, I'm not my Auntie Marie. I
Didn't
I
say
don't-
you were.
I don't know how to do this kind of. I mean, drawing a hex sign's one thing, ma'am, but talking to them of the air is. He just sort of trails off.
She how tall how old is he?
He's 12.
He's 12. So he's probably not that much shorter than me. I walk up and I put my hands on his shoulders and I say, everybody gets a moment when they get to decide to go deep or to walk away. Are you a sailor? Or are you some landlubber who doesn't know how to find their way to the depths?
I'm one as can see the chain that you got stitching the sky to the sea, wrapped all around this ship.
Damn right, boy.
I
Where's that chain taking us?
I don't know, Captain. Not just by looking.
And she leans a little closer and says, then why don't you go ask?
Okay, good. I think that's when these boats start coming back.
Wow.
You're creepy. Okay. So, the ship gets busy for a while as the work of turning whales into oil commences. Yeah. So, I think I'd like to see Enoch and Eva in a scene, if that's okay.
Yeah, actually, my internet's been so bad tonight. Was I meant to be there as well when Captain was talking to the cabin boy?
I think you were there, so if you heard what you heard.
Yeah, I think throughout that time I was just kind of leaning against the deck, arms crossed, looking behind the captain, just
And
kind of listening to.
does that work for you, Captain? Okay.
But yeah, Enoch and Eva, sure, I'm down for that. I think my next port of business after that conversation is kind of trying to get not polling the crew. It's kind of like kind of asking around, especially since the crew are whispering about the captain being all fey and weird. Taking the pulse, yeah, that makes sense.
Taking the pulse of the crew, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want me to fill in the details, or you just want to crash into the scene with Enoch?
Maybe some details.
Okay. So, the crew, they were, a lot of them are still quite happy about their experience on the island, and several pointedly tell you that the captain may be a witch, but that's to their advantage because they have stolen the luck of 2 lucky ships already, and that and that they fully expect to fill all their barrels with oil and return back to Massachusetts well in advance of anybody's schedule. But you also get the sense that they want that to happen now, and so if those things stop happening, their confidence in the captain may turn ugly very quickly.
Okay. Sorry again, my internet's being bad. What did you say after? If how their confidence would fade, like what does need to happen? Sorry, my internet's been so bad.
If they stop having this kind of luck and success, that their confidence in the captain would get turned around very quickly, and they would probably come and start demanding that she restore their luck by whatever means are necessary.
All right. Well, good luck to everyone involved in that.
That would also include you. So
yeah. Oh,
small ship.
yeah. All right. So what's the next bit of whaling that Enoch's being taught?
I don't know. Do you dare risk him in the try room to be chopping up the pieces of blubber because you use a shovel, a spade-like knife that's extremely sharp. It's also why many whalers don't have 10 toes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a cook the rest of the time. It certainly sounds like the kind of thing they'd hoist me on, and I don't complain. Whatever you give me, I have with a semi-vacuous grin. I just set to until the job is done.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is almost kind of like a repeat of coming into the cook in the kitchen. Only it's a much grosser scene, I guess. I think I kind of walk in. I've heard all of the cabin boys saying, but I don't know. There is something about that Enoch Everson, and I think it kind of like. So how's seeing the world so far?
Ah, Mr. Morgan, this is a new creature. I mean, it's not a new creature. I've seen them from afar, from the shore, but never up close like this. The captain was true to her word. I am seeing the world already.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself while working, and that's Ms. Morgan to you.
You are not an officer?
I am an officer.
How do I know which officer is Mr. and which officer is Miss?
I'm really hating my name. What did you say? How did he know?
How do I know which officer is Mr. and which officer is Miss? James told me that I should call officers Mr. Sorry, Mr. Fife told me that I should call officers Mr.
Well,
Thunk. Thunk.
Well, the lovely thing about the Tethys is that it almost doesn't matter whether you're a Mr. or a Miss. It doesn't. You can still be an officer, whether you're a Mr. or a Miss here. It's not a luxury in other ships.
If you wish me to call you if you wish me to address you as Ms. Morgan, then I will address you as Ms. Morgan.
I'd be grateful for that, Enoch. This work, all this, is it all worth seeing the world to you?
I don't understand.
Well, you're being put to your place. I've heard your near misadventure earlier in today's whaling activities. I'm just saying, of all the ships that picked you up.
Misadventure?
Well, One would call it that, or would call it near-death experience, I suppose. Whaling is not for those. Well, it's a way of life that could easily lead to inauspicious ends, Enoch.
Not for you. You were on the ship.
That is a privilege I've earned, that I worked hard to earn.
Ah, were you once on the boats like I am now?
I was once on boats many times, years in the past. I had less. Well, I had work like yours, often in circumstances that are less favorable than what we have here, the ship. And I worked hard to make sure I never have to do that kind of work again.
Is that why you are allowed to carry that, I say, and point at your pistol?
I'm allowed to carry this because out of everyone on the ship, I'm probably the best at using it.
What does it do?
It hurts people. Very efficiently, even.
Ah, and when the captain calls for it, you hurt people.
The captain may call for it. I may add my opinion. But yes, that's my job here.
I want to try and read her thoughts. I'm not good at this, but I'm really curious. So let me roll. Let me roll at -1 and see what happens here.
Oh yeah, I will say that her rosary beads are always all around her neck. It's always out in display. Actually, no. It's like, yeah, it's kind of on her person. It wouldn't be hanging around her neck actually, because around this time there's only like 15 beads, so that'll be weird to wear that.
So a 4 is what happened there?
A 4.
Yes.
It's Enoch's turn. He's gonna turn
I
all
kind of pause
moody.
just for a second, and I kind of cock my head, and I just sort of try and see if I can figure out what's behind that, like, super guarded, inscrutable expression she wears all the time. And I think I get nothing. I probably get nothing, I imagine.
Not from her.
Yeah.
You're staring, and then all of a sudden you hear this horrible keening noise coming across the water from no creature you've ever seen from the shores of your island. But strangely enough, nobody else in the room seems to hear it. Captain, you hear a strange keening noise coming across the water.
Oh man, I think I just then I'm just gonna chop, and I just leave the cleaver sitting there, hunked into a big hunk of blubber, and scramble. Oh, are we? This happens on the deck, right?
It's below decks, actually.
Okay, so then I just drop it and I scramble up the ladder or the gangway or whatever it is that we use to get up to the top, and just run to the rail and look in the direction of where I hear that noise coming from.
You can climb the mast. Lots of people climb the mast.
Oh my god.
It's like climbing a tree.
No. For now, I'm just I'm pretty sure. I give Mr. Fife credit for saying going up there is one person's job, and that person does that job, and you don't do that job. Once it became clear what my deal is, that he would probably tell me the places that I should think of as off limits, And I think the top of the mast is probably one of those places. So I just run to the rail and just am like leaning against the rail, trying to look out into the darkness. Maybe turn my head to kind of, see if I can catch a little more of the noise and stuff like this. And if all of that adds up to trying to sense what's beyond, I will do that.
That sure feels that way.
Yeah.
I think you are joined by me, by the way. Like, I think when you get there, I'm already there.
Okay.
Oh, Enoch may have just run up on the quarterdeck because he forgot.
That's fantastic.
It's a little higher.
I don't think I don't want to do that. Like,
Okay.
I want to definitely, like, I've taken that rule on.
Right, and so now you won't do it.
So that's a rule. So
Yeah.
like I know, like I'm really good with like
Rules.
if I know exactly what to do, if there's a hierarchy and it's been established, and
Yeah.
so
So
yeah.
maybe we're at the prow of the ship then.
Yeah,
I
sure.
like the idea of the both of us like appearing there together.
Yeah. Kind of from I come up, I'm coming up, you're coming down, and we're meeting in the middle, like kind of thing like that. Yeah. Okay, so let me see what I get here. Beyond is flat for me. Oh, so that's a 3. That's awesome. So smoking it tonight.
Cool.
I just want to say I love that there's like no XP or anything for misses in this game because that's fantastic.
Yeah, the experience in this is kind of just yes. So how conscious are you of your power?
I think I'm quite conscious of it.
All right. You are rocked as something comes against it and then rebounds off of whatever force you psychically have around you at all times. Enough that you take harm. Take 1 harm. The world sort of reels around you for a while. You can faint if you like. I'm gonna leave that up to you.
I think what might happen is like this might be a time where like maybe just a flash of light comes out of just my eyes that you would have to be standing right next to me and paying attention to me to notice.
Right.
And then and that kind of like rocks me maybe even like up in the air a little bit and then bam, like flat on my back on the deck, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll for sense what's beyond as well.
Fantastic.
I got a 7, so
Oh.
a minor success. She's very bad at this.
Okay. All you get is visions of rage and pain, and you realize unless you lower whatever it is that is surrounding the ship, your god cannot return to beneath its station.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have followed Enoch up because he left in a hurry?
Sure. It's a big old party on deck.
Yeah, I definitely check on Enoch as soon as I've gotten that kind of sense.
Yeah, I think I kind of see. Yeah, I see where he went. Then kind of stride up and kind of like check on him as well, and just what happened here, Captain?
I don't know. He just passed out or fell down. You all right, son?
And I kind of I sit up and I sort of rub my head, and I look at the two of you kind of standing there staring at me, and I say, "Yes, it's nothing."
That seems believable.
I look at the captain when she says that, like, what?
And I say, "Oh, good. can I return to my job?
And she
sure?
like leans back away from you onto her haunches and says, "We all have our secrets. Go do what you were about."
And I, like, kind of pull myself up and go back down, chopping more blubber.
And I like look at Ava and I say, "What's the name of the boy from before?"
Young Neb.
Neb. I say, "Where's Neb?"
As you said, working.
Yeah, he works as the cook. He was the cook's mate before. Now I guess he's just your cabin boy.
Yeah, she and then she just gets up and sweeps off of the deck.
Cool. Cool.
That's not creepy at all.
Not even a little bit.
Listen, I've got tobacco and opiates and alcohol in my fucking quarters, and I have a plan.
Okay. Huh? You are talking about the captain, right?
Yeah. No, not me.
I want to get a scene with James in. I'm not sure what that scene should be. James, do you want to help pitch me on something?
Does he need to discipline the crewman who just left his post?
Be disciplined. That's what Mr. Walker's for.
Mr. Walker says that's what Miss Morgan's for.
I think I would like a scene with Miss Morgan.
That's
Cool.
Yeah, maybe you can discuss the events of your little project, dropping his spade and running upstairs and then collapsing on the deck.
Miss Morgan,
Mr. Five,
make some time for me.
I always have time for you.
How's our new crewman coming along, in your opinion? Please, you may be frank with me.
Well, he learns quickly.
That
He'll make a fine seaman soon enough, but his countenance, his demeanor is of a sunlit child, but today we were conversing as he was working, and in the middle of our conversation, he ran off, left his post, ran to the quarterdeck to gaze into the sea, and promptly fainted. With the captain in his presence. When asked, he got up, said he was fine, and went back to work.
Perhaps he was overcome because of all the activity of the day. He does to put 150% of his effort into everything. Perhaps exhaustion. Perhaps he'll need to be reminded to rest.
Well, I could easily do that, but do you recall?
There, I sense other concerns.
Do you recall last night? Because frankly, I don't. According to the captain, apparently I was not acting myself.
What, last night? What about last night? I had a very peaceful night.
I meant most of the day. Apparently, I was being charming.
You almost made me laugh, and I know that you're not a joking one, so forgive me. Who said you were almost being charming?
The captain and the crew In fact, the captain made it sound like I should be in that mode more often, but on that side. Funny thing is, I don't. Oh, go on.
That's the early side to you.
Funny thing is, I don't recall a single thing what happened in
Hmm.
between talking to Enoch early in the day, and then suddenly just waking up on deck with a whiskey in my hand and the captain with her niceties. Mr. Five, what is happening with the captain?
What do you mean? What is going on with the captain? What do you think is going on with the captain?
Tell me truthfully, Mr. Five, is the captain trucking with forces beyond?
I can honestly tell you that right now the captain is not doing that.
Well, I do want to make it clear that I do not particularly care what one worships. I merely need to know where we stand. Secrecy becomes of no one.
We are a very profitable ship. That is where we stand. Captain has, through many hardships, led us on a very profitable journey.
Well,
And despite the little things here and the small burning vessels there, we shall all be rich people when we return to Kingsport.
well, judging from the atmosphere of the crew, we better hope to keep it that way. Otherwise, they might see the captain less as a good luck charm and more of an affront.
I've sensed the same from them. And where, Miss Morgan, do you stand?
I was paid to do my job, and that's where I shall. That's what I'll gladly do.
Have you no opinion if push came to shove? Would you push or would you shove?
Mr. Five, with many things that depends, but what I would like is to finish this voyage with the minimum of fuss, minimum of hardship with everyone involved in this ship. What about you?
I believe I have a fate. I can't see to the end of this voyage. But I wish that you return safely.
That wish is wasted upon me, Mr. Five. You're better off finding Neb or even Enoch. Wish them a happy return.
I shall do so. Thank you for your opinions. Please come to me if you have other concerns or you hear more from the crew.
Will do, Mr. Five.
You're doing a fantastic management job, Captain. Your death divisions are 400%. Okay, so you said you had an idea. I'm gonna take the plunge.
Don't you love ideas?
Yes.
Um,
Raconte-moi.
so later that night, she goes and finds Neb.
Oh yeah, he's super eager for this too.
He's thrilled. Where does she find him eventually? I think she has to look for him.
He's hiding in the hold.
She comes walking in and says, "Given that this is the last place on my ship that I have looked and that is left to be sought after, I am assuming there is a young man named Neb here, and I am assuming that he is doing work of great importance."
He pokes his head out and is like, yes'm?
"I've brought you some presents. Come here."
Okay. Yes'm.
And she hands him tobacco, cocaine, and whiskey, and says, "I understand that when speaking with certain members of the Loa, gifts are not inappropriate."
So Auntie Marie has told me, but
She puts a piece of chalk on top of all of it and says, "Get started."
you can't expect me to get this right, Captain.
And she closes the door to the hold, leans forward, and like very slowly, like turns around, slowly closes the door, turns back to him and says, "I think between the two of us, we can figure it out."
He kind of gulps and he says, "Ma'am, I am not strong enough to wrestle with them, but
But I am.
he sort of lets that one slide off his back. Maybe
I'll tell
I
you
could.
what. You open the door, and I'll do the talking.
Oh no, ma'am, that's dangerous. I might be able to find a witch, though.
Is there a witch on this boat?
No, ma'am, but there's all sorts of things in the islands.
Tell me more. I
So
think we can cut the scene right there. Like,
well, I
next
mean,
scene,
if
divorce.
you want to look beyond,
Yeah,
that would
sounds
be
great.
part of this. I mean,
Sounds
he's gonna
great.
get you into a trance.
Well, I'm bad at looking beyond.
Yes, you are. What is that? What you rolled?
Yeah,
You rolled a 4?
bad at it. Bad at it.
That's cool. That's cool.
When you say cool.
So James, it's your watch, so you're striding around the quarterdeck and checking in with the maid and filling out the log. When you see Bill Walker come walking towards you, or should I say stumbling towards you, it's as if it's strange. You would say he's drunk, except you've never seen him get drunk.
Oh no.
Mr. Walker.
You have to like shout at him a couple times before he looks up and goes, yes. You would be a person in authority here, right?
Oh no.
I am Mr. Walker.
Excellent. Excellent. What vessel is this?
Mr. Walker. It's still the Tethys.
The Tethys. Named after an ancient god. Yes. And he just comes up without even asking your leave. He just comes up onto the quarterdeck.
Mr. Walker, did I invite you onto the quarterdeck?
No, you failed to do that. And he walks over to the logbook and starts leafing through it. I'm not sure I understand these sigils, but I believe I understand the course that you mean to set.
And what course do we mean to set, Mr. Walker?
I need a stencil or some other type of utensil.
Well, let me see if I have any here. And I'll hand him. I've got one of those big old pencil-y things that they use on ships.
He just writes down on the slate a compass bearing. It'll take you to the south, almost due south at this point, because you're pretty far out from land. And then he scrawls in a latitude and longitude.
All right, and while he's doing that, I'm going to be taking really close look at him and his mannerisms. I'm trying to sense what's beyond.
That sounds about right.
I got an 11.
Yeah, you're not talking to Bill. That seems pretty evident.
And do I know what I'm talking to or whom I'm talking to?
Mm. I don't know. Just how well traveled are you?
Fairly well traveled.
You've heard stories. I mean, things that go beyond just possession. That every now and then, people will suddenly forget everything they've learned and be as if they're a completely different person. And then after some time, maybe years, they suddenly wake up and it's as if the person was exactly the way they were before. I mean, but possession is just something that the priests of the kirk back home would try and scare you with, or use to burn witches. But this you've heard from people that you trust.
Well, Mr. Walker, should we head in this direction? Will the captain find what the captain is looking for?
I would desire that you come this way, yes.
I see no harm in this. I will suggest this to the captain.
Okay. He sort of nods and then collapses to the deck.
And I will get Mr. Walker back downstairs, or the body of Mr. Walker, and into his bunk. Bosun doesn't have quarters, right? He's got a bunk.
He might have a small cabin, but it would only be the size of his bunk anyway. So
yeah. But and then I think I will seek out the captain.
That sounds like a good idea, Captain. Are you still in the hold?
No, I think I had my conversation with Neb. And then I took one of the cigars that I was going to give him, and I am standing, I have like gone to the front of the ship and am smoking a cigar and sort of surveying.
Captain, I just had the most interesting conversation with our own Mr. Walker. And
Interesting in what sense?
Was not quite our own Mr. Walker, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And our own Mr. Walker suggested a course of this heading, that it would be worth our while.
And she like looks at it, and she looks at you, and she says, "Is he joking?"
He was not himself. He was deadly serious.
There's nothing there.
Indeed.
Well, I am intrigued by this idea, but I suggest that we make a stop first. Which I don't know where, out of character, Neb told us to go. Great.
You rolled a 4, so I'm not sure Neb got a clear answer, but he kind of did. He just didn't get it the way that you wanted.
Is it that Neb didn't get a clear answer, or is it that I got him possessed?
Well,
Fine.
He gave a clear answer. You just weren't listening.
Right. Yeah. Well, yes. We'll stop at Pitcairn along the way, get supplies, and I have to meet someone.
Fantastic. It's been a long time since I've been there.
wait a minute.
Great.
See you again.
Great.
Now I'm really interested in what James was doing.
You and me both.
I mean, if you're old enough, I guess you could have been a bounty mutineer.
Going back to part 1, we did have hints of his reputation. So
Yeah. Into it.
Wow. Actually, the bounty mutiny was in 1789, and this is so probably not, but man,
Still. Great.
Those people had kids.
yes, they did.
They did. They did, in fact, have children.
And some of them went back to Europe.
and we don't know how old Mr. Fife is.
We don't.
1,000. He's a Highlander.
There can be only one.
Only one, Mr. Fife.
So for those of you at home wondering what the hell we're talking about, Pitcairn Island was where the mutineers on board the HMS Bounty ended up moving to, and they were not discovered for another 20 years. So,
and it's had a problematic history down through the years.
Yeah, it's very complicated in a lot of ways, but yes,
it's a long Wikipedia entry, so
yes,
check that out. Yeah,
but Pitcairn Island is one of the most remote islands in the world, which is one of the reasons they chose it. And also the point I gave as the core setting is 48 degrees 52 minutes south latitude by 123 degrees 23 minutes west longitude, which is the pole of inaccessibility on planet Earth. So it is the furthest spot from any land. Have fun, Cap.
What could possibly go wrong? A divine force drawing me to the most remote location on Earth for some unknown reason and demanding that I stop at a wretched hive of scum and villainy on the way. It's fine.
I didn't demand that you stop at Pitcairn. I just pointed out that it's on the way because that's kind of a cool thing to know. But yeah, if you guys were basically in the Society Islands, yeah, that's pretty much where you'd want to go.
Yeah. When you land at Pitcairn and you tell them where they're going and they're going, oh shit, that's a ways. Then that's
Yeah.
When the people on Pitcairn are like, are you sure?
Cool. All right, I'm out of stuff. Why don't you guys tell me something that happens now? So, yeah, I think we need to check in with Enoch.
Yeah, I was going to suggest some.
Yeah. So, I think once I'm done with my task, I'm gonna go to talk to the captain.
Of course you are.
Great. And I think you find her in the same place. She is at the prow of the ship, the front of the ship, smoking a cigar, probably also at this point drinking.
Which is not the quarterdeck, right?
No, the quarterdeck's the back.
Cool. All right. So okay. So then I walk right up to you and I say, Captain.
Enoch.
Actually, I would say Captain Goodwin.
Yeah.
And so I used, kind of that name construction with everybody because that, like I've been told to, Captain Goodwin. I've come seeking your forgiveness because I was less than truthful with you before.
She turns, like she kind of like glanced at you and then glanced back out, and now she gives you her full attention and hands you the bottle.
And I kind of and I take it and I look at it, and you know what, and I just I think I just throw it back.
Yeah.
Like I don't like I don't get it. I don't, but it also doesn't seem to like affect me. I take a few swigs of it and then just hand it back to you. And it's like I'm drinking out of a canteen or something like that.
Awesome. And she says,
My expression doesn't change.
yeah, and while you're drinking from it, she says, why I'm shocked that somebody who wanted to escape an island might not have been entirely truthful about why. So did you come to tell me the truth?
Yes. You took me from that place and you are showing me the world, and this is something that I hadn't seen before, and I wasn't sure what to make of it.
The world?
I heard something. A cry as of something in great pain from the island. But we are so far from the island, it made no sense. And so I came up on the deck, and then I was struck by something that washed over me, like being struck by a powerful wave.
I heard it too. Although nothing struck me.
I don't know what it was.
Well, there are more things in heaven and earth, correct? Than are dreamt of in our philosophy. Shakespeare.
Yes.
I take it you're not a great reader. Few men are. I cannot give you answers, but I think we're going to a place where we might find out what that sound was.
We're returning to the island?
No, we're going to find someone who will help us. And then we're going to the most remote place on the globe.
You are going to show me a part of the world that people do not usually get to see.
Indeed. It is the place on the map that is the furthest from everything.
Can you show me?
Yes, that's where we're going.
Can you show me the map?
Of course. And she's actually like got it on her. She like takes it out and rolls it out on the deck.
Yep.
And points to a spot that's like smack in the middle of the largest point in the ocean.
This is the sea.
It is.
This is the world that you're going to show me.
Mm-hmm. So there's the sea. There's Papua New Guinea. There's England, there's India, the Great East, the Americas,
Where did
everything.
you find me?
Right here. And that's where I'm from.
You've traveled far.
Very far.
You've seen all of this in between here?
I've missed a few along the way. But I've barely touched land since I was 3 years old, so.
Why is the island where you found me not here?
Not everything gets drawn on maps.
Why not? It seems like, how will you know where to find things if you do not put them on your maps?
Part of the fun is finding the secrets that people leave out.
And I nod, like that makes sense.
Because it does. Well, to her anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe to him, I don't know.
Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome.
I
I cannot guarantee that it will go well, but that's where we're going.
just want to see all of it.
Well, either I or someone else will be glad to show it to you.
I will tell you if I feel that again.
Do. Although I wouldn't tell anyone else on the crew. They're a superstitious bunch.
Superstitious.
So, because sailors live a life that is so scarce, they believe in a lot of things that are and aren't true. And the more you talk about religion and the spiritual and things that they cannot perceive themselves, the more likely they are to pitch you overboard.
Well, just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not real.
I agree. But I wouldn't tell any member of this crew that, except maybe James.
Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome.
And I think that's and I'll just turn and go back to my bunk.
Great. Oh, they're cute together.
Yep. Shasta point out that Easter Island is potentially on the way if you want to go there instead of the Pitcairns. Oh dear. Oh dearie, dearie me. Okay. Yeah. So Morgan and James. You gonna explain this to anybody when you suddenly change course?
Yeah, I'm gonna call the bosun and the bosun's mate, or first bosun. What is it? What's your exact title?
Yeah, bosun's mate. Let me check. Yeah, bosun's mate.
All right, we can't all be ship nerds like Cat.
No, we can't. Are we poor for it though?
We shall be changing. We shall be setting a new course.
To where exactly?
Well, we have a good intuition on where some new feeding grounds may have been discovered. Along the way, we shall be stopping at either Easter Island or Pitcairn. We shall determine which is the best for the ship. If you could pass this information along to the crew, would be most helpful. Any questions?
Are you sure you want to pass along that the captain has had a good intuition on where to go?
No. Just that we shall be setting a course for a new feeding ground should be sufficient.
How's Bill actually? How's my bosun? How's he doing after possession?
He's kind of laid up in his bunk and kind of stunned as if he had a brain fever of some kind. But the surgeon says he should make a full recovery.
Yeah, so in Mr. Walker's stead, if you could pass this along while our Mr. Walker recovers.
Will do. Think Ava kind of starts to turn to move, but then kind of like stops in the doorway.
I'm sensing.
And go on.
I'm sensing more.
Well, your intuition is certainly on point, Mr. Fife. I would like to know, why is it exactly our bosun was deposited rather haphazardly in his bunk and seems to have been struck ill? Can I try and read James's thoughts?
Oh, you can try to read his thoughts.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. I would like at least one successful roll. It's not meant to be. Wait, hold on. Let me check my stats. I think it's a flat. Yeah, okay. It's not meant to be. That's a 6.
Oh, dearie me. You're trying to read James's thoughts, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe Ava's just not good at figuring people out.
So you're standing there having this intense conversation with James when a couple of the 4 topmen and Hezekiah, the one of the harpooners, comes up and says, "Begging your pardon, Mr. Fife, Miss Morgan, but we're not too happy about this sudden change of course." Hezekiah is doing most of the talking. He's like, the Spamacetti are going to be headed up towards the Sea of Japan this season, and we're turning exactly the wrong way.
I believe we are heading in the correct direction, Hezekiah.
Well, all due respect, Mr. Fife, that part of the Pacific's like a watery desert. Nothing lives there. Ain't no fishing, no birds, nothing. That's where the Essex went down. They were fixed to eat each other by the end.
Well, we are not the Essex, are we, Mr. Smith?
No, the Essex was stove by a whale. Whatever was trying to stove us was much stranger than a whale, sir.
And yet we're still here, are we not, Mr. Smith? We are not the Essex, as I've said. We are the Tethys, and we have survived far worse, and we have done quite well, especially under the intuition of Captain Goodwin.
Well,
And I think I'm not so subtly kind of opening up my coat.
Are you trying to intimidate another?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I figure. Oh yeah, I think Enoch should definitely be walking up on this.
Yeah, that may even be after I got done with the captain, and I'm coming up the deck and I see this going on.
Do we want to get the roll in first, or are you trying to come up just in time to stop this from getting out of hand?
Maybe I need to help, so go ahead. And
Okay.
I made the roll. I rolled an 8.
An 8 on intimidate another. I get to choose things. This is awesome. Okay. All right. So Hezekiah is sort of he glances at your face, realizes that you'll probably use it, kind of runs that calculus and doesn't like where it ends up. So he mutters, "Well, I'll trust the intuition of the captain, but I'm telling you, if we don't get some spermaceti on this leg of the voyage, she's gonna have to deal with more than just Hezekiah Smith." And stalks off.
I kind of turn back to Mr. Fife and say, now, is that something we can all trust on, Mr. Fife? Our captain's intuition?
We can all have full faith in the captain.
In my experience, Mr. Fife, faith always means shit to people. And I think in the show of this, the camera kind of prominently falls on the rosary beads. I think it's poking out of her pocket.
I see.
So, Enoch, what are you doing when you come up and see the Smith party storm away?
You know what? I just walk up and I say, they seem troubled.
Yes, they were. I must give you another job on this ship.
And I grin. I'm happy at the prospect.
This is a job that you will only hear and speak of between myself and Miss Morgan. Should people become angry with the captain, who's given you so much and shown you the world, brave souls like yours will be needed to side with the captain so that you may see more of the world.
Is she in danger? Is she endangered by these?
No, not at the moment.
But you know what? And I I point a hand at them and I say, "Do they endanger her?"
Not at the moment. This is future planning. It's a bit of risk management.
I'm gonna glare at Fife, but don't say anything.
So,
just use your eyes and your ears. And if you need to, your muscles. Miss Morgan, you disagree?
I think I look at you. Well, I feel like I want to say a multitude of things, but so I just turn to Enoch and just say, like, trust your instincts, as Mr. Fife says.
I will make sure that the captain is safe.
That is all I could ever ask of you. Thank you, Enoch.
Oh, go on.
No, I think at this point I'll leave. So if you two want to have a mini scene or whatever.
No, I think. Well, actually, the one thing left I did want is like.
Okay.
Once, I think Enoch leaves first, and I go to leave, and just turn and say, "You absolute bastard," and I leave you.
We haven't. Well, you talked about this briefly with the captain, but I'm wondering if maybe we want to wind up with the first mate and the captain.
Yep. Oh, I didn't realize what time it was.
In you maybe in your cabin, Captain?
Yeah.
With all the charts and maps and hex signs and
Everything.
feathers and pestles and yeah.
The corkboard with the pictures and the string that goes between the.
Yeah, I mean, I think her cabin just has felt and looked darker since the charity. And when you like knock on her door, she just says, "Come in," and she's got like a porthole, like there's like she can see out, and she's sitting there with Milton, her monkey, who hasn't gotten much screen time, and is like gently petting him, and seems sort of like distracted.
Captain, it's been an interesting day.
Interesting.
That Enoch shall prove to be very useful.
Yes, he seems sweet and loyal.
I believe that he will be very loyal.
A good quality in any man.
It's true.
Or woman.
Or whatever Enoch is.
Why do you think he's other than a man?
There's a strangeness there I can't quite put to words. That innocence, never seen it in a man.
I've seen it in children, and I know how it ends.
That's what I fear, but for now, I believe that he will be a loyal child.
Do you think the crew is going to rebel when they find out where we're going?
I think there will be some discontent. I believe I will know, if that were to happen, who amongst the crew will be loyal and who will not be. And I believe that that we have the full faith of Enoch.
And she looks away from the window and looks at you for the first time and says, "Do you ever doubt me?"
Yes. I do.
They're not lying.
To say otherwise would to be lying to you, and you've given me no reason to lie to you.
But you stay.
I do. I sense our fates are intertwined,
and she looks at you and with like genuine emotion in her face says, "For your sake, James, I sincerely hope not."
Well, I think it's out of my hands, but thank you.
Oh yeah. Yep. Roll credits. Here are a few scenes from next week, and then we're gonna have D&D on to explain how they screwed up this week's script, and it's like because with all your help, I'm gonna stick the ending better than them.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you all. I feel like we've launched the final leg of the Tethys in excellent form.